Hello everybody, my name is Srinidhi. In today's lesson, we will learn about sentences, which include subject and predicate, and a few exercises on them. So let's get started. So what's a sentence? A sentence is a set of words that make complete sense. So when a group of words put together makes complete meaning, it's called a sentence. So a sentence must and should start with a capital letter and end with a full stop. But that's not the case with interrogative sentences and exclamatory sentences, about which we will see a little later. So a sentence contains a subject, predicate, and sometimes clauses. So for now, we will study about subject and predicate. A subject tells whom or what the sentence is all about. It talks about the main part of the sentence. So a sentence cannot be formed without a subject or a verb. So they play a very, very important role in forming a sentence. For example, the train will depart at 9 o'clock. So what we're talking about in the sentence is the train. So that becomes the subject. And the predicate tells us what the subject does. In this example, train being the subject, what it does is it will depart at 9 o'clock. So, will depart at 9 o'clock becomes the predicate. So, now that we know what are the key ingredients to make a sentence, do you think these following examples constitute a sentence? So, the first one is, we can assemble after 8 p.m. So, it is a sentence because it starts with a capital letter and ends with a full stop and also give you the entire meaning. For example, it says who can assemble and when can we assemble. So, it's a sentence. So, moving ahead, you have to master. This is not a sentence because, yes, it starts with a capital letter, but it does not end with a full stop, neither does it have a comma so that you can continue up ahead. But it does not tell what you should master. That's the main part of the sentence. It's like it does not give you the entire sense. It does not give you the full meaning that a sentence should. So this is not a sentence. The next one, it belongs. I think you would be able to tell that this is not a sentence because it does not give you the entire meaning. It doesn't say it belongs to whom or it belongs. It just says it belongs. So it is not a sentence. The next example, he is not in Bangalore. So this is a sentence because it is starting with a capital letter and is ending with a full stop and also is giving us the entire meaning. It says who is not in Bangalore and who is not where. So it is a sentence. Next one, get out. Yes, it is a sentence, though it has only 2 words and it is ending with an exclamatory mark. I said we will see about these kind of sentences a bit later. So this one does not have a subject, but it makes complete sense. It is like giving out an order, so it makes part of the imperative sentences. So the next one is how cold. It starts with a capital letter but does not give you the entire meaning. It does not say how cold is what, how cold is the weather, how cold is the food. It does not give you the meaning. So it is not a sentence. So let's move ahead. So this is an exercise on subject and predicate. Now that we know what is a subject and what is a predicate, let's learn it with some examples. So you guys can take this up as a test. So feel free to pause the video, get your answers done, and the next slide will give you the answers. So for now, I will explain every single example and you can take it as a test if you wish to. So let's get started. The first example is the sun shines brightly. So the subject here is the sun because it is what the sentence is all about. And the remaining part, shines brightly, becomes the predicate because it says what the sun does. So subject, the sun, predicate, shines brightly. Next example, The boy is wearing a suit. So the subject is the boy, and is wearing a suit becomes predicate because it says what the subject is doing. So he is wearing a suit. So subject, the boy, predicate, is wearing a suit. Usually if you see, the subject is always in the beginning of the sentence. So that's also another giveaway. You don't have to break your head in searching, in search of a subject. It's always in the beginning unless it is in passive voice. So moving ahead, the couple was walking in the park. So the subject is the couple because they are the main part of the sentence. It tells us what they're doing. It tells us what the sentence is about. And the remaining part, was walking in the park, is the predicate because it tells what the couple was doing. Next example, my mom and dad are trained singers. So the subject is my mom and dad because it is they are the people whom we're talking about in the sentence. And the remaining part, that is are trained singers, becomes predicate because it tells us what the subject, it tells us all about the subject. So subject, my mom and dad, predicate, are trained singers. Next one, we will no longer stay here. This is an exclamatory sentence because it's ending with an exclamatory mark, and also it expresses an emotion. So in this, yes, it is a sentence, but the subject is we. And the remaining part of the sentence, that is, will no longer stay here, becomes the predicate because it tells what we won't be doing any longer. The next one, the dogs were playing on the road. The subject is in the beginning, that is the dogs. What were the dogs doing? That gives us the predicate. They were playing on the road. So subject, the dogs were playing on the road is the predicate. Next one, the soldiers fight bravely for our country. The subject here is the soldiers. Fight bravely for our country is a predicate because it tells what the subject does. The last example is the old woman sat on a bench. Subject, the old woman. What did the subject do? She sat on a bench. So that's the predicate. So you guys can take it up as a test and check with the answers that is in the following slide. So here are the answers. So you can take it up whenever you want. And now moving ahead, we have different types of sentences. So there are 4 types of sentences. First one is declarative or assertive sentences. These are like the normal sentences where it starts with a capital letter and ends with a period or a full stop. So period is nothing but a full stop. So these sentences do not express any command or any emotion or give you any advice. These simply state the fact. For example, she goes to school. He plays football. These are declarative or assertive sentences. So next one is exclamatory sentences. So exclamatory sentences are the type of sentences where an emotion is expressed. For example, surprise, sadness, happiness. So when you express these kind of emotions in a form of a sentence, it forms part of exclamatory sentence, and it must and should end with an exclamatory mark. So the next one is interrogative sentences. In these type of sentences, you ask questions. And of course, it must end with a question mark. So the question, for example, what are you doing today? What are your plans for the weekend? So these type of questions are interrogative sentences. The last one is imperative sentences. So imperative sentences gives advice or an order. For example, take rest, eat well. So these are advices. Get out, shut up. These are orders. So these kind of sentences, though without a subject, when makes complete sense, is an imperative sentence. So in this lesson, I just gave you a brief of all 4 of these, but in the following lessons, we will go in depth about each and every sentence. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. Uh, Please do watch the other videos where I'll be talking in detail about these sentences. I mean, different type of sentences. Thank you so much. Bye bye.